Welcome to Landline. This is the call-in show for the confused, curious, and trying. Today, we're talking about mistakes, learning, and courage. I am joined today by my darling co-host, Claire.
Hello.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
We actually have voicemails to get to today, but I wanted to try opening with a monologue, which is a big swing. We're going to try that out, but I prepared something to introduce the topic. We're going to dive right in. The modern fear of making mistakes, the consequences of public failure, and the courage required to learn and grow in today's cultural climate. That's what we're talking about. You ever notice how the smartest people in history start by admitting they don't know everything? Socrates built his entire brand, said the only thing he knew was that he knew nothing. That sounds really wise until you meet someone who takes it too far. This kind of person who's so open-minded that their brain falls out of their butt. C.S. Lewis would call this capital T tolerance. This is what he did in his book, The Screwtape Letters, where he said it's not real tolerance where you're actually respecting people, but the kind where you let go of truth entirely. The kind where people are so afraid of being judgmental that they forget how to judge at all. And now it seems to me we're watching a culture trip over this exact mistake. The woke movement perhaps started out, actually I do believe started out like most things with really good intentions. Justice, kindness, listening to the unheard. Awesome. But somewhere along the way, it turned into a fear of saying anything with conviction. If you can't plant your feet anywhere, you're constantly shifting, trying to appease, and you don't stand for anything. And when a culture forgets how to stand, it kneels to whatever is loudest. Now, here's the risk. When people realize their society's gotten wishy-washy, they swing hard in the other direction. Plant your flag, hold your values, never apologize, never question. And while that sounds good when General Patton says it, I think it's a dangerous way to think. Because the moment you stop questioning, the moment you refuse to examine your own beliefs, that's when you stop learning. That's when you stop thinking, or at least I do. I mean, that's what the Socratic method is all about. So how do we hold our values without becoming rigid, reactionary statues? How do we stay grounded without becoming immovable? I think the answer is somewhere between Socrates and Lewis, between humility and clarity. Admit you don't know, but don't pretend the truth is unknowable. Admit when you're wrong, but don't panic and grovel. And for the love of all things holy, don't double down. You can say, well, I used to think that, but then this wild thing called reading and listening and thinking happened, and now I think this. Be willing to learn, not afraid to stand up for something, and then learn more. Because at the end of the day, standing for something isn't about being right. It's about being willing to go wherever the truth leads, even if it makes you look foolish for a moment. And if you're worried about looking foolish, well, welcome to being human. So all that being said, I understand this is easier said than done, because back in the day when you made a mistake, you got to just journal about it or cry to your mom. Now you make a mistake and a million strangers on the internet tell you to go live in a cave and die. So this conundrum is where we are today and why I wanted to open this topic up. So I'm going to stop talking for a second and open the floor up to my darling Claire.
Hi.
Hi.
You did a great job.
Thanks.
Good job.
I was nervous.
I mean, yeah, first off, there's like a lot of facets to this conversation. I'm like, yeah, it sounds more like a social media conversation than an interpersonal one. And I think that's
Do you think so?
super different.
I kind of feel like now the way people discourse, it's the same.
In person?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So I feel like a lot of times now, okay, so for example, the reason I like being friends with you is because we don't talk that way.
Okay.
But not infrequently do I find I'm interacting with someone and they do the same kind of mic drop comment, and where it's like, you're not interested in talking, you're interested in making a comment, you're interested in posting in this conversation. And so that's where, like, and maybe I'm just feeling that way. Well, no, I think I feel this way because also we've become a more and more isolated society. And so, like, less interpersonal stuff does happen.
Yep.
So in a way, it's like, even if it wasn't the case, that even if interpersonal was different, it's like an 80 to 20% contrast of most people are only interacting online, in which case,
Bummer. Yeah, good luck.
I mean, so even if I grant your premise, that actually, I mean, even if that's true, it's like, I feel like I'm older than you, but like social media used to be like the way, when I was in art school, we took digital photography.
Great.
Right?
Same.
Yeah, okay, it was one class.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, this is a fad.
And typing.
But like, digital photography is just photography.
Correct.
Sorry guys, it's not like a little niche that like a few like bros are gonna go into.
Yeah.
Like, that's all photography. So like, social media is just talking now. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether I like it or not, and if you follow any of the stuff that I'm hoping I will cancel very soon, I hate social media.
Yeah.
But let me actually back up to what I should have asked initially is the point, like, I'm trying to think of a way of saying what's the point. What was your point in bringing up that there's a difference?
That's just what came to mind. Of course, you think my thing is interesting, and now I think your thing is interesting. Because I think a lot of it is based on, like, that hesitation is a lot of curtailing and taking a lot of consideration, like the recipient of the message.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice kind of personal bind to have of, do I believe in what I'm saying? Can I not back it up, but is this just flying off the handle, or can I like kind of stand on it? And maybe I won't speak until I feel that way.
Yeah.
But I think it really just depends on like your audience.
Yeah.
And being able to, because it's what's coming to mind is like, yeah, you don't talk about politics at the Thanksgiving dinner table. I think it's kind of those things of like, yeah, know your audience some. It's like, so yeah, you and I can speak a certain way because we're in certain rooms together and know that feelings aren't facts and our thoughts change all the time. There's hormones involved. There's like so much context that fills the room for you and I to where it's like, not I've let you off the hook, but we have a relationship here and there's trust involved.
That's actually a really good point.
And so it's maybe not always like respect, go with me here, or like you're not on a pedestal. I just like being around you.
Yes.
And we make each other think differently sometimes.
Yeah.
And we laugh a lot. And so I think the social media conversation enters in with like this envy and respect thing of like, sometimes I go self-seeking or wanting something, whether it's, okay, I'm in need of information about this occurrence, or I'm in need of a outfit idea, or I need a new recipe or whatever. Like it's a means to an end. And that's a really vulnerable situation to be in as the seeker and as the person giving the answers. Does that make any sense?
That does. Yeah, no, that really does. And I think, it's interesting because I was going to say, so what I first thought when you said the thing about the Thanksgiving table and politics, I feel like what is sort of happening these days is everything is politics and everything is at the Thanksgiving table.
Yeah, there's a lot of like everything is political, which
And
I can get behind, and it's also exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Sure.
Which is why I'm like, okay, how do we talk to each other?
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because when you were just saying like going online to look for like an outfit or a recipe, I was thinking, but it's not so scary to post something about that because it's not a belief that you're posting. If you're the person putting it out there, you're just saying an idea. And then I realized before I could even say that, it was like, yeah, but then that immediately becomes a belief.
Right.
And immediately it's tied to your personal brand.
Yeah, where are things sourced, who made it?
Yes.
Is there any kind of cultural tie
Yes.
to anything?
And it's just like, so that circled back to the idea of like, whether you want to or not, I feel like you show up and you're like, Mom, I brought pie. And she's like, I cannot believe you voted that way. And you're like, I'm just here for Thanksgiving. Everything is political. Like, it's just, and so I think it's interesting, like when I opened this topic up to the world, I wanted to basically make it about mistakes and learning and courage, because I was getting I got some messages from people saying, why can't people admit they make mistakes?
Okay.
Or like, why aren't people basically responding the way I want them to respond when they make mistakes?
Okay.
And pro tip, guys, the reason I want you to call in is because I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
When
that's missing a lot.
Post a comment, it's like when people post comments, they're starting in the middle of the conversation. I don't know what you're talking about. And I can make assumptions, but that lands us exactly back where we don't want to be.
It's leading the witness. It's like, okay, if you're already up here mad about why people can't apologize or whatever, it's like, my only option is to then agree with you.
Yes.
Sometimes, unless you're like, what?
Right. And it's also like, can you back up to the beginning of the conversation of what is making you talk about this? What are you actually upset about? What do you want to talk about? Let's talk about something. Because I don't think you're posting that because you're like, why can't I admit when I'm wrong?
Correct.
Which would be a much more interesting conversation to me. Are you just
Be
pissing your
therapy.
neighbor? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to, someone was telling me before when I was complaining about this, she was like, you should be happy people are engaging with you at all. And I was like, truth. Okay.
Okay.
I shouldn't be complaining about getting comments. Thank you for engaging. And thank you everyone for like any engagement at all. Obviously, I love it. I love you. This is amazing. I can't believe I've been able to do, like, this is our 8th show. But I urge you to pick up the 10,000 pound phone and call so that we can have a discussion. Otherwise, this is just one more shouting into the void thing, which that's going to bore the crap out of me.
Yeah, and it's your show.
And it's my show. Like, I would turn off my own show. So we do have some messages.
Yeah, I want to hear them.
All right.
So what did you tell people? So I know. What did you tell people?
So I told a story about a mistake I had made in the past. And then I just said, okay, so call in with a time you made a mistake that you deeply regret, or a time you wish you'd stood up for something, or a time you did stand up for something and regret doing that.
Yeah, woof.
Yep. The story I ended up telling was, okay, this
Yeah,
haunts.
I'm like, how hard are we going into the dumpster?
We're not going to do that one yet.
Okay, great.
I'm going to tell you the one that I just did initially. Folks, stay tuned if you want to hear the real dark stuff. The one I posted on Substack, subscribe, was this like haunts me that this girl in my high school, like this was high school.
God, aren't we pathetic? It's
I
so
know.
exhausting.
I know. She this like douchebag took her chair, and there weren't enough chairs in the cafeteria. And so he brought it over to the cool table, and she was not considered cool. And so she came up really timidly and was like, Mark, you took my chair. And he pretended he couldn't hear her, and everyone's watching. And then she said something, like said it again, and he I think he did like a talk to the hand thing, because.
Is your insurance company calling?
It is! Guys, I got hit, and my insurance company's calling. Guys,
That's a personal decision.
Can you tell a story while I'm...
I don't know the story about Mark and
No,
Paige.
guys, you need to call me later. Okay. I uploaded the photos of the damage. They keep calling asking for photos. Okay, so anyway, so what ended up happening was that this is such a professional show.
He put his hand. He put his
so he
hand
put
up.
his hand up and was just basically like talk to the hand, and everyone like laughed and was like brr. Yeah, it was like bad. So she walks away and is crying.
Yeah, sure.
And feels humiliated. I see this happen, and I'm like kind of a lad at the cool table. So I think the right thing to do is be like, hey, Mark, you're a dick, right? And I sort of half-heartedly go up, and I'm like, hey, Mark, blah.
Yep.
And he tells me to shut up.
Great.
And I'm like, well, I guess there was nothing I could do. Then this girl, Hillary, who nobody knows this girl, right? Hillary, I'm not even sure you went to my school. Hillary comes in out of nowhere. I see all this out of my peripheral. She goes up to the girl. It's like, what happened? She tells her. Hillary says nothing. She just walks right up, walks up behind the guy's chair, pulls the bottom back 2 legs out.
Hell yeah.
And just rips it out. He hits the table like he biffed it. And everyone who'd been backing him up the whole time just starts cheering.
Exactly.
I have regretted that moment for so long because I was like, I'm a coward.
Because you wish you took down the
I wish I was
bully?
Hillary.
Yeah, sure. I
Like-
would have too.
I was like, I'm like, and ever since then, I've been afraid of, I've either overcompensated for that and tried to be Hillary in moments where it was completely inappropriate.
Sure.
I was like, this is my Tiananmen Square Garden. And they're like, this is not appropriate.
Yep.
Or I've still been a coward. And it's like, I don't know. And so that's what I wanted to kind of open up to people in light of this whole, like, how do you stand for something? When do you feel good about it? When do you not feel good? And if that's too much of a stretch, you can just talk about, like, I thought I could hold it until I made it to the bathroom and then I crapped my pants at a 4th of July picnic.
Ew. Visceral. Okay, cool. Let's hear 'em.
All right. So, yeah, let's go to the call center and play our first voicemail.
Hey, Landline, this is Jenny Pruitt. Inga, I met you in stand-up class. What I'm thinking of right now is that at first I took an improv class, and one of the rules of improv was if you know what you're going to say before you get out on stage, don't get out on stage. Go up there when you have no idea what you're going to say. So, one, I feel like this is what you're doing, and it's really empowering, and it's beautiful, and strong, and real, authentic. And two, that's sort of what I did in calling, and that's new for me because perfectionism has always been my thing. Perfectionism and productivity and people pleasing, and man, you know, you get to be in your 50s and realize you don't know who the hell you are. And anyway, I'm so enjoying listening to your show, watching your show on YouTube. You were talking about 80s movies. I'm here in California waiting on my granddaughter to be born. And just watching old movies with her mom and my son. And we watched Dances with Wolves and Last of the Mohicans. Oh my gosh, those stars, the Daniel Day-Lewis and Kevin Costner, they're kind of scrawny, like, okay, yeah, they're in decent shape. They're running all over the place and doing crazy stunts, but you know, the perfection wasn't there, and I was just struck by it. So everything that you were saying about 80s movies, totally identify with. The imperfection. And what movies did I have a problem with that really messed me up? Every single effing Disney movie. All of them. I didn't watch a single one until all the way to the end, until I was in my 20s probably, because I ended up in the lobby of those old movie theaters, scared out of my mind. What you're doing would scare me out of my mind, but seeing you do it is really, really good for me, and I'm so enjoying it. So keep it going. Keep it going.
Jenny, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I love her. That's so nice. Congratulations on becoming a grandma.
It's very sweet.
My gosh.
Did you recommend Last of the Mohicans?
No.
Oh.
We were just talking about 80s movies last time.
Oh, yeah. That was my first make-out movie, which is hilarious.
Wait, I've never seen it.
Me either.
Is it? Wait, is it mood-inducing or is it?
No.
It sounds like it would be aggressive.
Yeah, no, I literally couldn't tell you what happened because I was just so nervous.
Who'd you make out with?
A guy named Taylor.
He sounds hot.
Yeah.
How old are you?
15?
Hussy.
15.
Wait, what grade is that?
Oh, I was a freshman.
I think no. I had my first kiss when I was a sophomore.
Yeah, same.
No, mine was just a kiss. And it took him
A while.
like 20 minutes, and he got so nervous, he threw a videotape across the room.
What?
Because he was like, just do it, just do it.
Wow. That's when I'm really glad that I'm not a teenage boy.
Yeah. Yep. And I was
That's a lot
like,
of pressure.
Jenny, thank you so much. That means so much. Thank you. Like, you're, first of all, awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. I love you. I can't wait I want to see you when you get back. I want to hear all about the baby. Also, wait, what was the other? Dances with Wolves. Also never seen that movie.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, well, now I have stuff to do. Jenny, you've improved many lives tonight.
We got plans.
Thank you. All right, next caller.
That was so sweet.
Hi, Inga. I have a story about a mistake, I guess you call it, but I was so young, and it's so difficult, as you can understand, to speak up when you're little. I was standing in front of my neighbor's house with my best friend and my older sister and a couple of her older sisters and some other older girls. My sister went in the house to use the bathroom, not realizing that from the front of the house, these girls were tall enough they could see in the bathroom window. So the one was looking in the window and then laughing because she could see my sister peeing, which was just a horrifying thought to me. But I never said anything because they were big and I was little. And I always felt bad about that. My sister got over it. She didn't even remember it. And yet I remember it distinctly. So it was something I had to just put away until I got older. We do learn a little bit from all these experiences. And once I went to nursing school, I learned how to speak up against anybody, because nurses seem to have an innate sense of righteous advocacy for our patients. Might not be so good about speaking up for ourselves, but for the patient, it's part of the job. And I did have an occasion one time when I was older, like in my 40s, we were at the nurse's station talking about moving a patient to another room. We'll call her patient B. She was in bed B. Well, her roommate in bed A complained about her because she watched TV all night long, was on the phone during the night, even talked to herself, maybe talked in her sleep. So bed A couldn't get the sleep she needed. And whenever somebody complained, we were more than happy to switch rooms because we knew the patients needed to sleep. So it was an important issue, and you tried to pick the best roommate. So everybody at the nurse's station started talking about where we could move patient B, maybe in the room with somebody who was hard of hearing and wouldn't be disturbed by the TV being on all night. Well, the patient in bed A was white and somewhat wealthy, which we're proud to treat all of our patients the same. But yet everybody knew that she came. So the lady in bed B was black and just average middle income. I don't remember her social status. But everybody started talking about where we could move patient B. And we were discussing this with the nurses being mostly young and white, the nursing assistants a little older and black. And not any one person spoke up until I realized, wait. When somebody complains about their roommate, they're the one who gets their room changed, not the other way around. And as soon as I said it, everybody said, yeah, we need to move bed A. And that was in, I think, the early 90s. We didn't have the word micro-racism then. So nobody recognized, nobody had a name for what they were doing. But as soon as they realized, they had to leave patient B in there and move the other one, they were on board with that. So I like to think that people learned a little something from that experience. And now I have a master's degree in conflict management. So I enjoy conflict as opportunities to practice my skills. That's it. Thanks.
Awesome.
Bye.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not a nurse.
I know. Thank you so much for calling in. That's awesome. But I found the sitting down peeing story traumatizing.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. It is interesting how formative some of those like early justice bents happen, where you're just like, don't do that to my friend.
Like where it's like it's such small stakes where you're
Yeah.
like, oh, it doesn't matter. And yeah, of course it doesn't matter that you didn't say anything. But that is exactly the kind of thing that would haunt me.
Yeah, just people watching you pee.
No, not saying something and people laughing at my sister.
Yeah, that's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, that used to happen a lot. Like, I remember once my big sister, she wore a white skin-tight unitard from Nordstrom.
Sure.
And this is before like body, like onesies were like a thing. Like this was like 88 maybe. And like where they had like the stirrups.
Yeah.
And not really durable material. So it was kind of see-through. And we had a school performance. like an assembly, and we were all sitting there and they asked for volunteers, and Leslie used to have this thing where she was like, the trick is you don't wait for them to call on you, you just go up.
Yep.
So she went up and they were doing some sort of dancing routine, and Leslie did the dance whole hog and like just was jiggling.
Yeah.
And when you're in 4th grade and your sister's in 5th grade and everyone's like, I can see your sister's butt.
Yep.
And I just remember being like, I will fight everyone in this school.
Yeah,
If you
just
say
so
anything about my sister,
defensive.
I was so defensive. But I mean, looking back, I'm like, Mom, where were you?
Yeah.
Like, a white one piece?
It's interesting, though. It's like, yeah, I don't know. The whole concept of mistakes really is kind of fascinating and really deep.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, because even with that story, I'm not so, I tell the story that I stuck up for my sister. I'm not so sure I did.
Well, and I'm not even thinking about you participating in it. I was like, okay, so her first mistake was wearing that leotard. And then, like, from her perspective, she's like, oh, maybe it was just, like, my brazen confidence. And that, like, looking back, it was, may or may not have been a mistake.
Yeah.
I just think from a parenting perspective, I think it's a really interesting thing watching parents figure out which mistakes to, like, let their kids make.
Yes.
And what that does or doesn't foster within gumption.
Yep. That's actually a really good point. And I think, like, that's something else that in terms of looking back and ridiculing, like, other people's behavior, man, we just go nuts on our parents. Where it's like,
Yeah.
you're the worst. But, like, I mean, so I'm not a mother, so I'm acutely aware of the fact that I have no idea how hard it is. And I know me and my 3 siblings could not be more different. And my poor mother and father, like, I mean, every day it was like a choose your adventure on how to parent, because it was like, I don't know, like, Leslie was so different from me, and I was so different than Audrey. And I mean, we often forgot we had a brother.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's hard. Like, yeah, it's hard. All right, let's go to the next caller because we're running out of time.
Hi, I'm Sebastian, and one of the things that I did that was incredibly brave was to come out at the age of 16 at an all-boys Catholic high school in a red state.
All right.
That sounded
Dude, I'm so
terrible.
sorry. I want to hear what you have to say, but...
Same, it was about Catholic high school, and I was going to over-identify.
Wait, did you go to Catholic high school?
No, I went to a Christian high school. Same.
What kind of Christian? Like, what's that mean, Christian?
It was non-denominational.
Oh.
Just Jesus and the Bible.
Okay. Hey. All right. Okay, next call.
Hey, just the truth.
Landline. What are we supposed to do about the people in an airplane that after the plane lands, they stand up from their seat in the back and walk up the middle aisle and disrupt the entire damn thing? And number 2, something that we did last week, we hosted a party, and you know those hand towels that people have in their bathrooms, and then by the end of the party, they become this disgusting wet mess. We did something revolutionary. We changed out the hand towels halfway through the party. Isn't that amazing? Just wanted to ask a question and spread something that needs to happen moving forward at parties.
Yes. Bye. Okay. That was an amazing call.
Yeah, I
Guys,
liked that.
Okay.
That was a good sandwich.
Yeah, this is a great example of what a standard call can be. We don't need prompts, just conversation.
Yep.
That's incredible. So first of all, I hate people who do that.
It's rough. I am like I stand up, but I don't get in the aisle. I get halfway in the aisle. But I definitely am not walking
Yeah,
up.
you can't walk up.
No, that's crazy.
And like, I feel like when people do that, they're always saying things under like, I'm late. No, I have another flight. And you're like,
Right.
bitch, we're all late.
Yeah.
No one's here because they live here. No one lives on the plane. Everyone's got somewhere to be.
Yeah,
That's why we have a system. We all board a certain way. Like, please don't make it so that we have to deboard with an announcer.
Yeah.
Because that's what's next.
It is frustrating. It just feels like road rage.
Yes.
I do kind of feel bad for the people that are like backpack running and they're like, but my flight. I'm like, good luck. You know?
I mean,
That's stressful. Airports are so stressful.
Flying's the worst.
It's very high risk, High risk, high reward.
Yeah. And it is weird. And there's such like mob mentality or like herd mentality, I should say.
Yeah, because people are terrified.
Yeah.
Upon entry until you exit. Every man for himself, but also I will do whatever you tell me.
Yes. Like there was this one time I was on the plane and we were all stuck for some reason. Like we landed, but we weren't deplaning. And I think it was in DC. And like every time traveling DC is terrifying.
Yeah, even worse.
Like so bad. And so we were all standing and everyone's like hot and upset. And this one little boy was screaming that he needed to pee. And he was screaming the whole time during the descent.
Yeah.
We land and then like we're not getting off and he's just screaming and screaming. And finally one woman shouted at everybody and was like, move out of the way and let him go to the bathroom.
Yeah, obviously.
Like where no one was moving out of the way so that he could just use the plane bathroom. And it's like, what is wrong?
Like while people were deboarding?
Yeah, like, well, and we weren't even like actively deboarding. Everyone was just standing there. We're waiting for the gate for like the door to open, right? So we're all just clogged, and he's just clogged in his little spot crying about how he has to pee. And she's like, hey, will you dickheads move to the side so he can go past and get in the back? Where it was like, guys, this should be common courtesy. What is...
Interesting. Another like justice thing with a kiddo.
Yes.
Of just like, why is no one paying attention?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like a big thing for me.
Yeah,
and-
so no wonder this whole topic is like close to the vest. Because
Yeah.
you're just like, what do? I want to
Yes.
say a lot of things,
But I don't want to be wrong.
but I don't want to be wrong. It's a real bind.
It is. And I've been wrong before.
Of course.
Shockingly.
Of course. Of course. Do we have another one or no?
The hand towel thing was a good call.
Yeah, I don't have enough friends to like run through a hand towel during
don't-
a party.
Yeah, I don't have enough hand towels.
No. I'm just like, I thought everybody was just like running the water and then leaving, like just acting like they wash their hands.
Yeah.
Do you wash your hands?
No.
Okay, great. So we're absolved.
Yeah. I gave an entire wedding speech at someone else's wedding about how I don't wash my hands in public. I just run the thing so people will think I'm washing my hands.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when I was the best. We got a call. Hello, this is Landline.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Landline. This is my first time seeing your show, and I absolutely love it. It's great.
Thank you for calling and listening.
Yes. So I was listening what you guys were, or the caller was saying about hand towels.
Yes.
And everything. So I went to a friend's house for a gathering not too long ago, and it was like some kind of holiday or something. And it was so cute because she had all these decorative napkins, like the disposable ones, in her bathroom. And I was like, how did I not think of that?
Nice.
It's like, yes. So that
Yes.
is a great solution.
That
for
is a great solution. Nice.
I know.
love
I
it.
felt like, why didn't I think of that before?
Yeah.
Well, then you don't have to do laundry.
Yes. Yes. Cutting down on laundry, but it's terrible for the environment. But you
I
know,
mean, sure, but what isn't?
I have one other comment that before I let you guys go. So the airplane thing.
Yeah.
Now that can be frustrating, but I also feel like we should remember that sometimes people are in a hurry and sometimes some people aren't. So trying to give people grace, like if they have to make a quick layover or something and they only have a couple of minutes. So if somebody does that instead of being annoyed, sometimes I'm like, maybe they have somewhere that they need to be.
Damn, Jessica.
I strive to be more like you.
I know. Shit.
Oh, thanks. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go back to watching. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exercising grace would definitely be,
A core tenet.
yeah. Also, and it kind of goes back to something that I was thinking about before in the very beginning, and this will kind of round out our show. When you were talking about how you and I can talk about things and give each other grace because we're like in certain kind of spaces together.
Yeah.
And, okay, so hear me out. I used to be married to someone that was going to be a minister at one point, right?
Right.
And he was going to be a Lutheran minister. And there's this part of the Lutheran service where when you walk in, I forget what it's called. It's like the abolition of sin or something like that. Please don't
Whoa.
get pissed if you're Lutheran and you don't know, or I'm effing this up. But the point is, right in the beginning of the service, you say like, what's up? I'm a sinner. forgive me, and then you go into the service.
Okay.
And a lot of people were like, that is a super buzzkill, right? Like, let's
Sure,
not
it's
start
like
this.
a disclaimer almost.
And my ex-husband was like, that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Because that's the moment I get to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And like, I'm flawed and I'm still allowed. And I feel like there is something where there's a lack of benefit of the doubt. Like, I assume through the context that you and I know each other, like, we're both just doing our best.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And where it's like, I assume, like, you and I could have completely diametrically opposed views. And that just makes me want to learn more. Even if I'm like, oh, I still hold the view that I have.
Sure.
But I will never think you are anything other than a whole, well-rounded, beautiful person because we're both just doing our best. And so there's something beautiful about that initial like laying down of, I don't know what I'm doing, man. That I wish there was a way, I guess in church you used to do it, in other areas that you have it, but I wish kind of the strive for perfection has made that obsolete.
Yeah.
And like, it really makes conversing a lot nicer. And I would be nicer to people on planes probably.
Yeah, the need to be heard and trying to get that need met from people that we're not in relationship with is like a real pain point. That's like, that's a pretty lose-lose battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a big expectation and like a very valid human need. So it kind of just like circles the drain some. Yeah, I don't know. We could talk about it for a really long time.
This is awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Really nice.
Yeah, this was great. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. This was a super awesome Landline episode. We're figuring out the vibe still, and I kind of like today's vibe. Feel free to post comments, send me stuff. Subscribe on Substack. Call anytime, 615-212-5437. Leave a message anytime. We'll respond to you on the air. Or you can call after 3 p.m. Central on Fridays, and we'll talk to you in situ.
What does that mean?
Like in the situation? Yeah.
Cool.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you for watching.
Bye.